So for this last vlog of the semester, I'm going to be answering questions 3 and 4. So question 3, according to Damned Lies and Statistics, why does the general public tend to be receptive to statistical claims about new social problems without thinking critically about them? Why is it naive to simply accept numbers as accurate without examining who is using them and why? How do we better evaluate statistics? So we as humans are a group of people that love numbers and tend to believe facts that are associated with numbers more so than ones that are not. Humans in general love statistics and they're used to back up a lot of people's different point of views. So these statistics sometimes are actually false, and even in two-sided arguments, these can be presented from two totally different sides for one simple statistic. And this is solely based on whatever side each person is on, and in these situations, it is very easy to turn statistics into weapons to use during arguments or fights. It is simply naive to accept these numbers to be accurate just because they are numbers. Automatically, we believe that anything involving numbers is more factually true or accurate, when it is simply not the case. If you do not fully examine the statistics that are given to you, there is no way for you to then appropriately take in this information at all. And especially if this is during a discussion, you will not be able to then contribute any information to that discussion after that statistic has been brought up. Either you have to blatantly ignore what was brought up or just ignore that topic in general. And we can better evaluate statistics by first understanding the context in which those statistics were taken or measured, and then we can begin to understand how they were measured and then apply them and understand how they were applied. So after that, it is important to know when it is appropriate to use these statistics, because there are some times in conversations that unwarranted statistics are just thrown out to try to prove someone's point. It's almost seen as like a Hail Mary pass in football. But understanding the ins and outs of originally collecting the statistics is the biggest step in better evaluating them. And so question 4, according to Damned Lies, why are social problems different from hard facts such as gravity or weather? How are social problems social? How do statistics play a role in creating new social problems? Who often creates statistics? What are their purposes? Please give at least 3 examples. So social problems are different because they are caused by people's actions, whereas gravity and the weather are not directly related to human actions. Social problems are in fact social because they are occurring between more than one person, so the person-to-person interaction makes them social. Because ultimately there will be communication involved either in the initial budding of this problem or communication that comes up towards the end when the problem or conflict is trying to be resolved. And so statistics can create new social problems purely based alone on how they are delivered. Having big numbers associated with a statistic is a good way to get the mass public to notice and ultimately leads to drama unfolding down the road. And so people that create statistics in general, people create them in general, but depending on the type of statistic, it can vary where it comes from. So for social statistics, a lot of the times they're taken or created by sociologists that are studying the field and taking notes on what they observe. And so the purposes of these statistics are 1, to help quantify data, 2, to make it information that is easier to understand, and 3, to compare to previous data that was already taken. And so quantifying data is important because it gives the data more impact when it is presented to the public. And making data easier to understand is also very important, and statistics help this along so that people from different backgrounds can understand them and apply them and communicate with them. And comparing to previously taken data is important because then you can see if there was any growth or change since the last time anything was measured or observed. And then I'm going to be answering Abigail's questions this week. So the first one is, how do you think social statistics affect our society and societal values? So I think that social statistics affect our society and societal values because it can begin to label different subgroups of people, and then this can lead to lumping people together into these different categories and ultimately leading to conflict between people. And the second question is, were you surprised to learn that cops sometimes underestimate social problems? Why or why not? To me, this is not surprising. Cops are entrusted to make sure that the law is upheld by all citizens, but there's also a darker side to some of the lives of different cops. And a lot of the times I feel as though some cops that we see in the news try to lessen the impact of these social problems so that they are not picked up by the media. However, ultimately these stories are put on the internet or the news and we find out about them. And then there are also some cops that believe because they are in fact cops, their job directly affects social problems on a large scale, so that because they are doing their civic duty as a police officer, they are lessening these social problems much more than they believe to be true. And then my two questions for the week are, how can statistics be better taken? And what are ways that social problems can be avoided by using statistics?